Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Saturday morning webinar with the Chicago Jets Midget program. We are very pleased with how these have been going. Some questions that you guys have been asking have only added to the content. And feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like. There's no limit to them. Again, just type them in the chat room. We're very excited today to have Brett Wall from the Hudson Havoc USPHL team, the head coach, to give another outstanding webinar. A little different today. We're actually going to have one of his players, or I guess Brett, maybe your former player, since the season is
actually still current player. He actually just received a college commitment. He'll play one more year of juniors before going to college.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's good to know that they know that they'll see the path and probably have some questions about that. How could you have a commitment but yet still have another year left of juniors? And so this will be again just another way to help you navigate your path or your player's path, because hockey is one of those. It's a sport that there's just so many different ways to get to where you want to be. And Brett's going to shed some light on another path that we're excited to hear about today. So, Brett, I'm going to turn things over to you.
Yeah, guys, I'm very, very grateful to be here and really appreciative for the time, and obviously giving up your Saturday afternoon here. For me, first and foremost, like, this is something outstanding. I think that, guys with the Jets program here, this is really, really cool and just kind of valuable stuff that I know as a player growing up, I was fortunate to kind of play my way through the pro ranks, and I'll kind of get my playing background a little bit, but very cool to have this advantage and kind of amenity here that your group has given to you guys. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it and really excited to be here. And I hope you guys learn a little something along the way. And if you have questions, like Kyle said, please feel free to ask. I'm very, very easygoing. Kind of what I preach is I am very much a player's coach. Only place I'm really going to be kind of, real hard and stern is going to be on the ice. And that's because we both have a common goal that we're working towards. But other than that, please feel free to ask away, and would love to kind of immerse you guys in my program and what we got going. So with that, I'll kind of get started and introduce myself. My name is Brett Wall. I'm born and raised in the hockey hotbed of Dayton, Ohio, which I'm sure very few of you have probably heard of. Not a whole lot of people have kind of made their way out of Dayton. I was fortunate to be kind of seen at the age of probably 12 to be identified to play in a AAA program in Indianapolis that was owned by a team that was affiliated in the USPHL with the Indianapolis Ice. I played out there for a few years and was fortunate to be a really good student athlete, and got an opportunity to receive an opportunity to go to Lake Forest Academy, where I played prep school and AAA hockey for 4 years. And then from there, I kind of really, really pursued my academics and developed as a player in my 4 years there, putting a lot of time in the weight room, spending 5 days a week on the ice, and just kind of growing as a person as well. And was fortunate to be seen by a North American League team and to make that jump at 18 years old to be playing in the North American League, and was seen as kind of a guy that had a little bit of a leadership attribute to him, and was announced as a rookie captain in the North American League before receiving a 4-year scholarship to Lake Superior State to play Division I hockey in the last 4 years of the CCHA before the Big Ten came along, and kind of aligned college hockey for what that looks like. So the CCHA had your Michigans, your Miami, your Michigan States, Ohio States, Alaska Fairbanks. That's kind of a fun one to get out there and go to before kind of everything got aligned. So I was really happy to kind of be a part of that, and kind of perennial hockey conference to be a part of its last year. I'm very, very proud of. And then after that was blessed and fortunate to be given an opportunity to play professionally for a few years in the minors, and kind of bounced around all over. Had quick stints here and there and kind of anywhere that would have me, and really kind of embraced the pro life for 4 years and loved that. But got into a little bit of an injury situation where, you look yourself in the mirror one day and you think, man, like, can I keep doing this? And I kind of knew that I was at the direction where I knew coaching was kind of what I really wanted to get into. I didn't really know what that looked like as far as moving forward. So I kind of got into a little bit more of a player development and skill type background. So I kind of started doing a little bit smaller kind of skill development program, kind of based all throughout the country. What I would do is I would actually travel to these places and work individually with some of these kids. And a lot of these places were kind of non-traditional hockey markets to start. And then it was fortunate to kind of find myself into a situation where I was able to work my way back into the Chicagoland area and work with a few professionals, most notably the DeBrinkets, The oldest one plays for the Cincinnati Cyclones, and obviously the youngest one that you guys are, I'm sure, all familiar with, plays for the Blackhawks. Got an opportunity to work with him. A few other pro guys, Charlie O'Connor is a guy from Elk Grove Village that's still bouncing around the American League and East Coast Hockey League. Jake Stevenson is another guy, he was an ECAC Player of the Year at St. Lawrence from Naperville. And so that's kind of how I got my way back in the Chicago area. And from there, I was kind of introduced to Denny Vasky and Jimmy Anderson, who are the owners of the Hudson Havoc. I was ready to kind of be set and go back and just be doing player development full time. And was actually going to be working in a role with the Columbus Blue Jackets before this opportunity kind of arose. And was an opportunity where I came up to Hudson, and we got up here and we loved it. We saw a rink that was fantastic. We saw a community that was beautiful, waterfront. We loved it. And then I kind of got hit with the nails and said, hey, well, we've only got 15 days to put this whole thing together. So our first year, we kind of took some lumps, and we had really, really good people, just not necessarily the best players at the time. After that year, we made it through and had a little bit of success towards the end, as far as just identifying some guys for the future and what could possibly be next for us as a team. So we went from there and really kind of put our heads down as a staff and organization throughout the course of the summer, and have really turned this program around to quite a bit of a powerhouse in these last 2 seasons. And I'll kind of get a little bit more into that as we go. But just kind of my background of where I started playing and kind of how I got to Hudson, just to kind of keep that going there. So I'll kind of introduce the program now, our community. I'm very, very proud of it and what we're doing here. It's a fantastic little hockey community that I can't honestly speak highly enough of. So I'll kind of continue forward here. Now, is that square on the screen there, Kyle? Okay, just make it perfect. All right, guys, so this is kind of our program. I'm going to give just a brief rundown of kind of what we do, give you a little bit of look in the day in the life, what options would look like as far as if you were a student, if you weren't a student, community service, and just kind of things like that. We'll have time for some Q&A at the end. So please feel free, if you have any questions, write them down, put them in the chat box there, and we'll get to them when we're done if that works. So like I said, we are the Hudson Havoc. We did start in 2017 and 2018. That was our first year we got going. Not a extremely successful year as far as team success, but as far as kind of getting the program going and having just a good foundation started, we did a really good job of kind of getting immersed in the community. After that, we were kind of fortunate the last 2 years to have a lot of success. We've been able to identify some of the best 18 to 20-year-olds in the country that I feel who are pursuing NCAA athletic scholarships. For us, 18 to 20 is usually kind of our range. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. We do have a few high school students, but very, very few. The reasoning for that is normally for us, so for example, like if I were taking a kid from the Chicago Jets, you guys have all the assets, all the resources, all the amenities that you could possibly need. As far as development, I'm not going to be able to necessarily give you more quite yet than what they can give you there. You guys are in a really good spot as far as a club that really provides for their players. And there's a reason that we are coming and connecting and communicating with clubs like yourselves, because of that direction that you have headed some guys. But I will be honest with you, I do have a few 17-year-olds that are kind of from non-traditional hockey markets. I have a kid from Alabama. I have a few from kind of Texas, where their team that they're together is made up of 4 or 5 schools put together as a co-op, and kind of non-traditional hockey markets where they're not going to have an opportunity to really be given the same assets and resources that you guys kind of could get from your club on a daily basis, if that makes sense. But for our players that are in high school, we usually do online schooling, and the reason for that is we will kind of get into the day in the life. The curriculum and the structure that we kind of have put in place doesn't necessarily allow for a person to be in a brick and mortar from, say 8 o'clock until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We do provide ample time after, you're done at the rink to get schoolwork and allow that to be done. No one has had any issues with that. So I've been very, very blessed there. But what a lot of our players do, if they are in that situation or in that spot, they'll do online schooling through the Hudson High School here, which is a fantastic job at making sure that all the online stuff is taken care of and organized. And then some guys will graduate through Hudson High School. Other guys will go, and what they will do is they will transfer back home and graduate and walk with their class from home. For example, I had one student that was from Elk Grove Village that wanted to go back home and wanted to walk and was fortunate enough to go home and walk. I had another student that was kind of from middle of nowhere, Ohio, and found an opportunity where he wanted to go back and compete in his senior year of lacrosse. And finished his season here, finished his schooling, and went back and competed in his senior year of lacrosse. So that's kind of how schooling would look like if you were kind of an underage guy. But predominantly, when I'm looking for club players from a place like you guys, I'm going to be looking at your higher U18 level, with which where guys will be moving on or most likely graduated. Going into the division, so we do play in the United States Premier Hockey League, which is the USPHL. Again, we started in 17-18 was our first season. We skate out of the Hudson Sports and Civic Center, which has 2 rinks. I'll kind of break down what that setup is like here in just a bit, but unbelievable little setup. We play in a 9-team division, and what I love is the majority of our games are going to be based out of Wisconsin and Minnesota. So for me, that means you're not necessarily spending long nights, long days traveling on a bus, 15 hours to go somewhere, 8 hours to go to one game for the week. You're able to kind of go there, sleep in your own bed at night, develop. And when you wake up on Monday's not a day you're kind of getting through as far as kind of playing catch up from travel on the week. Monday can all of a sudden kind of be a day where you're kind of really right back in the mix. So I really love our location as far as our farthest travel is going to be probably 3 hours. And then we do play 3 USPHL showcases across the country to kind of give us a little bit more just kind of a scouting flair and flavor as far as schools that can see us. We do a showcase in Blaine, which as far as hockey, we've been very blessed, which that has kind of fallen right in line, our showcase with the MIAC showcase. So that's the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. For those of you that aren't familiar, it's a very, very strong Division III conference and arguably one of the best in the country at the NCAA Division III level. So a lot of scouting opportunity kind of happens through that time as our showcases kind of coexist within each other. So I love that. We come to Chicago right before Christmas. It gives an opportunity for a little bit more teams in the Midwest to kind of get a chance to see us. And it also brings teams from the Great Lakes regions, as in say like your Michigans, your Pittsburghs, et cetera, for us to kind of meet and kind of say who is going to be kind of the best in that kind of Midwest and Great Lakes division. And really good turnout as far as opportunity for scouting and schools exposure. So I love that showcase as well. And then probably my favorite is our Boston showcase. We go to Boston, we play 4 games. 4 games, 4 days. There's a ton of schools there. It seems like I think so there's 2 showcases that are set up. Half the league there is all at one time. So it really becomes more of like a festival than a showcase, if that makes sense. It seems like you kind of run into just about anyone and everyone as far as school that is there, because there's so much opportunity just to kind of get eyes on those people immediately because there's so many people there. So honestly, 4 days of just extreme excitement, fun, and just kind of pedal to the metal hockey. So it's a lot of fun for the guys and for me as a coach as well. And then in 2018, as far as our development ladder, we'll kind of break down what exposure and the process looks like as far as where we move players onto. But we are affiliated in 2018-19. We did affiliate with the Boston Junior Bruins and the NCDC in the East Coast. And Boston Junior Bruins have been highly accredited for multiple years. Have been around kind of since the start of club and program hockey on the East Coast. So I've really kind of been a staple out there, and I've done a fantastic job at turning players out to the Division I level and continually having success out there on the East Coast. So really proud to be affiliated with them, and I'll kind of speak a little bit more to that affiliation here in a bit. And then just kind of speak to the focus of the league here. This is very much a league where development of the student athlete is the focus. Yes, I want to move guys on to higher levels of junior hockey. That is absolutely our goal and focus. But the goal and focus of that is knowing that academics is the extreme intent here. That's why we're playing. That's why we are working towards this. So developing the student athlete is our goal here. And in the USPHL, between the NCDC and Premier and Elite level, in the last 2 years, over 300 players had that opportunity to go to the collegiate level and play hockey and continue not only to get an education, but to continue to play this game. So I think that's pretty freaking cool and awesome. And then as far as Hudson, our goal and our focus to make sure that we are developing players for that collegiate level. The last 2 years, we've been very fortunate to move on all our guys that have aged out to the NCAA ranks. We've had a few guys that have moved on a little bit earlier to the club level. Just been a little bit more of a different fit. One guy was a dual sport athlete, and we'll kind of get more into that. But truly the focus is making sure that we find a fit with an educational opportunity attached to it at the end of the day when you leave here in Hudson. And then again, I'll kind of lead into this. A huge thing for me and right here is positive impact in the community. This is a unbelievable community that I'm about to talk of and praise highly. I don't want anyone to think that this is the only place in the world, but this community, I'm telling you, is fantastic. I can't speak good enough about it. So the city of Hudson, Wisconsin, is right on the edge of Wisconsin and Minnesota. It's the last exit on the border there. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Interstate 94. If you're on Interstate 94 and you're heading west, you have to run into it. A little waterfront community. It's a town of 14,000 people. What I really like about it is its proximity to everything. Hudson is very much a small town feel. We have 2 exits. The first exit is considered the Hill. And that's where all your big residential, say your Walmart, your Target, your Buffalo Wild Wings, your Chipotle's, your Starbucks, kind of any fast food and kind of regular commercial opportunity as far as dining experience, out and about shopping is there and available for you. And very, very neat. But then you go down half a mile to the downtown and the waterfront area. And you've got just an awesome little downtown district that has a lot of mom and pop shops. You have your local breweries, your restaurants, your yoga studios, kind of everything you can really imagine, and kind of that small town business support and feel is kind of there. And what I really take a lot of pride in is being a small business in a town that supports such things. It's a town where you're not overwhelmed by, places downtown where it's like, oh, it's the only place that's going on. You have 5, 6, 7 places that are really, really involved in what the Havoc are doing, and we're involved in what they're doing. Promotions and sponsorships that are kind of reciprocated back and forth. So it's really cool to be a player when you're rolling around town of 14,000. You walk into a restaurant and the people know who you are and know what you're doing. It kind of provides a little bit of accountability to you guys as well. It gives you a chance to, kind of be a big fish in a small pond. And when you're seen, people know what your goal is. People know what you're working towards each day. And people kind of know me and my family and what my expectation is as well. So if you're not kind of carrying that expectation of the community or the team here, it's really easy for someone in the town to say, hey, this guy just isn't fitting. So we really kind of work and strive to make sure that we have people that can really fit into this community because it is so great. One day hockey does end, and all of you guys will be very excited one day about the place you live or the community you live in or your neighborhood. And you'll take a lot of pride in that. That's something I do take a lot of pride in, is where we live and kind of the opportunity for that. And again, with just kind of location, things that I really like about it. The airport is about 25 minutes away. These are things to do. As far as wintertime things to do, watch Hudson Havoc hockey. There is no doubt that is the thing to do. As far as fan base, we'll get anywhere from roughly 250 fans in the start of September. It's a little bit lower just because of football season. But towards the end of the winter, we'll have upwards to 300 to 500 player or fans at the game. And it's a lot of fun to kind of be involved in a smaller building. So really, really cool. The Xcel Energy Center, which is where the Wild play, a Wild game is only 15 minutes away from you. And I know a lot of you guys are probably used to United Center parking. I don't know how the Wild has done it, but they have mastered the parking garage setup. I promise you, you're in and out in 10 minutes. It's almost, I can't even explain it. It's almost eye-opening, spectacular. There's more people that need to kind of back that infrastructure. It surprised me. Target Center and the Target Field, which where the Timberwolves and the Twins play, right next to each other, about 30 minutes away. Your mall will be Mall of America, which I think is pretty cool. It's the closest mall there. It's 29 miles, which ends up being about 25-minute drive. But very cool to kind of say, hey, that's where you go. And again, just proximity to the airport. You're about 15 to 20 minutes, just kind of depending on which terminal you're going to. Makes it really, really easy. And now the rink. This is something that, for me, this is the community staple and the community hub. So you guys kind of heard me praise the community and kind of how much I think dearly and highly of that. Now I'm going to talk about the rink and just kind of what goes on in here. And what I love most about our rink, and which I think is so cool, is we have 2 ice sheets. And what those are ran and operated off of are Youth Hockey Association funding. We are one of the largest youth hockey associations in the state of Wisconsin at just a little over 400 people. This year we had 11 teams compete for a state title, which was very, very cool. There are 2 people at the rink that are paid on staff, and everyone else is volunteer. So if your kid is in the Youth Hockey Association, you are guaranteed to at least donate 25 hours of your time. And I honestly can't believe how easy it is to wrangle up some of these volunteers. It seems like 25 is not enough. because they're kind of always asking and itching for more. So we do a lot of volunteer work and a lot of helping at the rink, just due to that, because the way they treat us and just kind of what happens there. If you can't support the place that is supporting you and giving you your opportunity, Hudson is not going to be a place for you. It's a very gorgeous rink. We have a pro-style locker room that's set up. We have a practice sheet and a game sheet. We have a training facility that's attached in the middle. Our game sheet has the seamless glass, kind of anything and everything you can imagine. And what I think is really kind of cool about it is it's not going to be like a youth hockey field where you're skating across the rink to your bench or anything like that. Our locker room is attached to the back of both benches. So with where our locker room is, you walk onto the back of your game bench, then you walk onto the back of your practice bench. So it kind of has like that tunnel feel, like if you were in the NHL, which I think is really kind of cool, and gives you that kind of vibe. And we kind of usually load the little area there with kids to give you the high fives and fist bumps, which is fun. I know one day it doesn't seem like much to have fans, but when you turn my age, you don't have too many anymore. It makes you appreciate when you had kids with your jersey. So, and then fan base, we get an unbelievable fan base. Like I said, usually start of the year about 250, and then towards the end of the year, it's going to be about 300 to 500. Love what we do here. A lot of the people that are involved, youth hockey families, still come back and support because we are so involved with youth hockey program. And I'll kind of explain a little bit more of that later. But just unbelievable support from a hockey community that really gets it. All right, guys, now we'll kind of go into myself first, and then we'll kind of talk about hockey operations. So me and kind of my role, I am the head coach and general manager here. So that's my goal, is to make sure that I'm coaching the team, spearheading that. And as GM, I kind of oversee the building process of that team. A lot of people kind of ask, where do you find your players? How do you get these guys? What's going on? I'll introduce my staff here in a bit. I've got a great staff that honestly works across the country. And does a really, really good job of making sure we're identifying top talent from kind of anywhere and everywhere, and really, really appreciate all the work we were able to have put in. So my role in that, as far as being a GM, is building a staff that can support, our goals and our focus here. And with that, I identified Jim Mitchell as my general manager, or as my assistant GM, and kind of my builder of this team. Jim played at Ferris State, so all of our guys, I speak really highly of our program here. I'll show you a few stats here on the side. As far as staff, amongst our guys, amongst ownership, scouts, player development guys, quite a bit of resume here. Game played at the NHL on our staff, we have 235. We have 6 World Championships games. Professional games played outside the NHL, we have almost 1,200 games. At the games of the Division I level, we have almost 450 games. Games of the NCAA Division III level, we have almost 250. Games at the ACHA, which is the club level, we have 123. I do have 2 guys on my staff that did not go to college. One was a semi-professional baseball player and has been coaching in the minor level in Minnesota for a bunch of years. And the other one did go to the Ontario Hockey League and played major junior for a season. So that's kind of how that worked. I do have a guy that played a few games in the USHL. We have almost 200 USHL games. Between North American League, the EJ, which is now the NCDC in Tier 2 in Canada, we have over 400 games. And at the Tier 3 level, we have about 170. So as far as staff, we have people that kind of have a background kind of from all over and have kind of been everywhere and have played somewhere. So as far as opportunity, it's like, is there somebody that can relate on our staff? Yeah, there's most likely somebody on our staff that can kind of relate to what you're going through, or most likely what your background has been. So that's what I really, really take a lot of pride in, is kind of the staff that we have built. Jim Mitchell is in his 3rd season, has done a great job. The way I met Jim is, again, like I said, I was in that kind of hotbed area of Dayton, Ohio. Again, when I say hotbed, I put that in quotations, guys. Not a lot of opportunity. Our closest rinks to each other were about 30 minutes. If you miss the net, you're shooting the puck into the snack bar. Like, it wasn't really a great opportunity. And being a Division I athlete at 18 years old, I was just kind of confused and lost. Kind of like, what am I looking for? What am I doing? Or who can I kind of talk and connect to? And Jim was a guy in that area that had kind of been there and done that, and really kind of led a lot of guidance to me through my playing career. And so Jim kind of went on and continued coaching at different various, AAA and AA levels. And Jim was coaching with a program that competes in the National Junior Prospects League, which is actually where I first met Coach Bloom and kind of got in touch with the Chicago Jets program, and first kind of was made aware of what was going on. And Jim said, hey, I've got some guys at this program or at this showcase you need to come check out. And I came down there and checked it out, and I was very, very pleased with some of the talent that he was able to show me at the showcase that your guys' teams were at, and I was thrilled. And so for me, I just said, hey Jim, would you be on board with at first being my director of player evaluation, and he kind of did that at first and kind of was doing my scouting, and now has really built our team into kind of a powerhouse and has really earned that opportunity to become an assistant GM, and continues to do a great job working towards that. Then I have Ryan Davis. So we have a full-time goalie coach as well. Ryan Davis also runs our back end. Ryan played at Nichols College, which is NCAA Division III. A guy that for me has connections to Sault Ste. Marie, which is where Lake Superior State is, which is where I played my college hockey. So I was able to kind of get in contact with him. Ryan kind of came with 7 years assistant coaching experience. I'm heading into my 4th year as a head coach, and that's my only coaching experience as far as team coaching. So I felt like I needed a guy with a lot of experience that wasn't necessarily going to be a yes guy to me, but a guy that could really kind of give me some guidance and good advice. I think he did a great job of kind of doing that and really helped me turn my program around. So we found him in my 2nd year, and he's heading into his 3rd year. He's actually the 3rd guy in charge with Mega Goaltending, which if you guys have been to the super rinks at Schwann, I'm not sure if everyone has or not, but the mega rink up there, they actually run that goaltending facility out of there, that big training center up there. That's actually the venue where that training facility is ran at. So Ryan does an unbelievable job of working with our goaltenders. In the last 2 years, Ryan's actually had a goalie that has won, the all-league all-star for the last 2 years in that position. So he's kind of trained the best guy there. And Ryan has also moved on both our goalies, our starter and our backup this year to an NCAA Division III program for next season. So very proud of the work he does, and a guy that truly allows me to be a promoter of players, to return all the emails, to make sure I'm on top of my stuff and know that I've got a guy that is working as an extension of me on a daily basis. So very grateful for him. Coach Tommy Zers is another guy. So Tommy does not have any playing experience. What I like most about Tommy is Tommy's hard work, determination, and kind of who Tommy is as a person. Tommy played some AAA minor league baseball and was a few swings away from the MLB, but was in a situation where he just kind of fell short with what was going on with his opportunity there. And ended up kind of winding his way into hockey, relocated to Minnesota, and really kind of got into the youth hockey scene while he was in vet school, and became a veterinarian, but started kind of spearheading a few programs over there, and kind of got involved a little bit with the Hill Murray high school program for a bit, and now has coached and won a few state titles across Minnesota and Wisconsin, from anywhere from the squirt to bantam level. So a guy that brings tremendous wealth of knowledge and just a great experience of solely working with kids. What I think Tommy's kind of taught me most and kind of best is it doesn't matter how old you are as a hockey player, it doesn't matter how old I am as a coach, we're getting to enjoy a child's game. And Tommy has a lot of opportunity and experience working with kids. So for me, Tommy is kind of that voice of not necessarily say reason, but that's hey, let's look at it from a different perspective at times. And honestly, a guy that I think has truly kind of led our program this year to be a national contender. Then we do have a full-time director of player development who's on the ice with us every day. Mike Fazio works for the FIT program and MAP, which is the Minnesota Advanced Performance Program. So Mike works with a lot of guys that work at the NHL, major, junior, and collegiate level, higher levels of junior as well, and works with them kind of throughout the course of the summer, and really has a great pulse on kind of what the player pool looks like as far as I'd say more Western Wisconsin and all of Minnesota. Does dabble a little bit down in the Milwaukee area, but is most likely going to be in that Western Wisconsin, Minnesota area for us. Foz skates with us every morning. He does 1 day a week, run practice for about 40 minutes and do just a group skill development where we work on it as a team. That's usually going to be on our Mondays. And then throughout the course of the week, throughout drills, he'll pull guys aside just with the little individual detail. Does a lot of film and shows guys what's going on with just their personal game. And honestly, has been a great asset for us. Foz played D3 at River Falls and then has played professionally in the Southern Pro League and then in the East Coast Hockey League. And truly is a guy that is young, hungry, motivated, and has a great grasp on just kind of what young players are doing to kind of stay relevant as far as skill development. So it's been a blessing to have with us. And then Tim Riccio works on the East Coast for us. A guy that I kind of met through the prep school scene. I played a little bit of professional hockey with him. Tim currently helps at the Brooks School out on the East Coast, and then also helps with the Pins program in Pittsburgh with their AAA program out there. Riccio is a guy that honestly, when it comes to hockey, this guy lives and breathes to be at the rink. Anytime I call him, I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I'm at the rink. I'm thinking to myself, when do you eat? When do you sleep? So a guy as far as East Coast, as far as states, he really grasps the entire region. I can proudly say that he's a guy that I know is working 24/7 for our program, but not necessarily just our program, but just the development of people and players. He is a guy that truly kind of is a guy that, like me, kind of come from a non-traditional area and made his way with the game. And is kind of looking to return that same opportunity to players. So a guy that I love having with us, and a guy that, as far as work ethic, I truly is second to none. And then head scout for our Central region, as far as USA Hockey, Zach Loesch is our guy. Loesch coached with me my first year and kind of helped identify our talent and keep our program afloat and keep it going in year one. I was fortunate enough to play a year at the NCAA level in the Division I ranks with Zach at Lake Superior State when he was a freshman and I was a senior. He kind of came in and was learning his way a little bit, and I was a guy that was on my way out and had been learned and taught and kind of, I don't want to say I'd learned it all, but had seen a lot and was kind of willing to share my experience with him. And when I kind of came right into the college or kind of came right into the coaching ranks, Zach was a guy that was done with college and was done with playing in pro, and was a guy immediately that I knew, like, his passion and kind of charisma that he brings every day was an energy I wanted around the rink and around my organization. And got the chance to work with him. And Zach, has been around the Chicagoland area for the last few years and done a good job at helping programs grow and develop out there. And I think he's doing a little bit of work with you guys this year. And just as far as human, I can't speak highly of a better person. He's a guy that I would have at my home. I would have him over for dinner. I'd let him here with my wife. Like, I love the guy. I can't speak enough of him. And truly, when it comes to player development, he's another guy that wants the best for his guys. And I was talking to him yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, Wally, I'm trying to hopefully maybe get some ice here, ice there. I'm calling this guy, calling that guy." And it wasn't anything for him as far as an opportunity for anything crazy. It was just an opportunity to get guys on the ice and for him to be around the game. And for me, that gets me fired up to know that he still has that passion and fire in a time like this. And just a guy that truly has been unbelievable at identifying people and players that we should have in our program, and a guy that we'll continue to kind of work with for years to come. Patrick Higgins kind of oversees our Southeast district. Patrick is a guy that played club hockey at Central Oklahoma and did a really good job out there, and kind of had, as far as a Hall of Fame career out there, he's kind of the poster child for the program. And it does a good job of kind of putting them on the map. Where I met Patrick is through TPH. Patrick has worked with Total Package Hockey as the director of player development. We did a little bit of traveling around, just place to place together, working with a few individuals doing skill development stuff. And Patrick's now located full-time in Nashville, and works within the Nashville Preds youth organization, helps with their hockey operations. So down there, he's a guy that, has a really good grasp of the player pool and kind of what the crop of talent looks like down there. So he helps out, and again, is another guy that is just hockey crazy, another guy that wants to help out people, and just kind of had an opportunity that kind of come from a non-traditional hockey market as well as from Ohio, and, has made his way and made away with the game. Mike Henderson, a guy that I've known for too long. I played a little bit of minor hockey with him. Played a little bit of pro hockey with him as well. Michael was a guy that played in every kind of higher end junior league you think of. He played in the USHL, he played in the BCHL, he played in the NAHL, and had a lot of success. A guy as far as leadership, I mean, he's got it. From there, he went on and got a Division I scholarship to West Point, and played Division I hockey at Army. And with a few of the places he was kind of located at the time, had the opportunity to play a few professional games kind of here and there throughout the course. And now he's located in Denver, Colorado, and does a really good job of kind of overseeing our Rocky Mountain district and working with the people and players that are involved out there. And was also working in conjunction with the USHL's player safety committee for USA Hockey's officiating development program. So another guy's just kind of involved in another realm of hockey that just kind of can give us good eyes and good ears as far as grasp of that region of the country. Brad Townsend runs our Michigan program, our Michigan region. What Brad does is Brad actually runs a player development program in Michigan. and worked kind of directly with a lot of these players that we kind of work hand in hand with and kind of developed relationships with. And Brad's background, Brad played 9 years professionally, played a little bit of major junior hockey. As far as, tier 2 junior hockey in Canada, I had the opportunity to place third in the RBC, which is their national championship, which is really cool to kind of think, we're able to compete at a level like that and be seen. So I think that's awesome for him. And a guy that, again, is truly just committed his life and dedicated to helping players move on and kind of how he does and makes his living. Jeff Smith oversees Minnesota. Jeff is everywhere. Again, another guy that has a full-time job elsewhere, but I don't know how he is at every rink, at every game, and can see people consistently. Every Tuesday and Thursday night throughout the season in Minnesota, he's at a game somewhere, watching players, identifying players, meeting with families, and kind of getting in the mix. Where I met Jeff originally is Jeff was kind of helped building a few higher level teams in the Mid-Am district in USA Hockey before relocating up here to Minnesota. And that's kind of where we met. And kind of really have carry that relationship over and feel comfortable having him on my staff with knowing the kind of effort and amount of work that he puts in, and very, very fortunate to have him. And this right here is kind of our game changer. This is a guy that I can't highlight enough. The fact that we have a full-time strength and conditioning coach on staff is incredible. I can't speak highly enough about this guy. This is a guy that works in conjunction with USA Hockey back in Colorado Springs, back and forth as far as helping, development, strength and conditioning models and what's next, and kind of the movement forward for off-ice player development as far as, strength and conditioning training. And Brent does an unbelievable job. What I really love about Brent is that throughout the last 2 seasons that he's been with us, we've had 0 players injured throughout the course of the season. No lifting injuries, nothing crazy. It's not like you have someone in there doing something irresponsible. You've got a guy that really has a great grasp on each player's individual needs and can really put that into a group setting and does a great job. What's really neat too is a lot of our players actually have created such good relationships with their billets and with Brent. Is about half our team stays up here and skates and trains with Brent throughout the course of the summer, just because of the clientele that Brent brings back. So a lot of the River Falls hockey players, which is NCAA Division III, skate and train with them. And then a lot of, pro guys come back as well. Most notably, his kind of most notable client as of late, Isaac Howard, is a 16-year-old, just committed to the National Development Program and committed to University of Minnesota Duluth, and helped Team USA secure a gold medal at the university games, or the university games for U18 there. I thought that was very, very cool. So very kind of proud of the work and effort he puts in and kind of what he's been able to bring to our program. But just as a person, like a guy that I truly know, we have parallel mindsets and is truly an extension of what we're trying to do here, and honestly gets what it takes to kind of help guys get to that next level. We do have a yoga instructor, which I think is really neat. Joe does an unbelievable job. We do yoga once a week on Thursday night. The reason we do that is there's kind of a cool and calming presence for guys to kind of get together before we kind of get ready for the hustle and bustle of a game weekend. What I love about Joe is Joe has a really good grasp on concepts of just mental preparation and focus. And what I think is so neat is Joe really kind of is able to connect with a lot of these players individually. Like he's able to say, like, hey, like, this guy seemed a little bit off, or this guy seemed a little bit too excited or whatnot. And for me, it's an extra set of eyes that I know really, puts time and effort into understanding what's going on with our players and really cares about the well-being. So I just think it's really, really cool that they do that. And this is something that I take a lot of pride in and I really, really like. We have a doctor that is with us full time here. His name is Dr. Lincoln Likeness. We are affiliated and kind of in partnership with the Hudson Physician, which is associated with the Hudson Hospital here, which is about 3/4 of a mile away from the rink. Throughout the course of the season, if anyone is injured, if anyone is sick, all the players have Dr. Likeness's phone number. You can call or text. Very, very easy going. As far as a guy with that title, he gives our players too much leniency with that opportunity there. It seems like he's always wanted to take a phone call, always wanted to take a text. And for me, I'm extremely grateful. I can't tell you how hard it is sometimes to get a hold of a doctor. This is a guy that it seems like he's always around, always in the mix, always swinging by the rink. And what I really like and think is kind of unique and kind of cool is what he set up for us is at every one of our home games where we have an EMT that is on site, and we actually, with the hospital being so close, if a player were injured, there's actually a room open and reserved, knowing that there's a Hudson Havoc game going on. So if a player from either team was injured or something were to be happen, they could literally be transported right to the hospital, and there's a doctor in a bed waiting for them. Not like you're running into an emergency room and hoping to be seen. They're kind of prepared to know what is going on. So I think it's kind of a unique attribute that we have. And for me, makes me feel safe and comfortable knowing you can ask your players to go out there and compete and kind of sacrifice their bodies, at the level needed, knowing that you have people that can take care of them and will support them immediately if need be. So for me, I take a lot of pride in that. And honestly, what Dr. Likeness does is honestly over the top and above and beyond. Our building coordinator is Catherine Ross. She's going into her 4th year. We will talk about our building program kind of at the end. The reason I speak about it at the end is, you see kind of everything we have in this program and what we're doing. And for me, I think it's fantastic. But all this doesn't happen without our building program. It's kind of the backbone and the foundation. So I'm going to kind of leave that to the end there and kind of really hone in on that and just kind of why it's so important to us. But Katie's done a fantastic job identifying and building families for the last 4 seasons. Our building program continues to grow. We actually have fantastic homes that we have to turn away just because we don't have enough people to put there. So for me, I think that's really, really neat to know that you got a community that is overwhelming and wanting to take players into their home. This is us after we clinched the division title. All right, guys. So now it's going to be day in the life. Kind of what's it look like to be a part of the Havoc on a regular basis throughout the course of the week, and we'll kind of break that down here. So we will practice 4 to 5 times a week. The reason I say 4 to 5 is sometimes we'll have a Saturday, Sunday game instead of a Friday, Saturday. So on a normal day, I'll walk you through a Monday through Thursday and then kind of break down game week. So for us, a Monday and Wednesday are going to be very, very similar. My doors open at 8:15 and my doors close at 8:45. The reason I do that is it gives guys a little bit of ample opportunity. If you want to come in and be at practice an hour and 15 minutes before, that's totally fine if that's what you want to do. If you're a guy for me and you're there 45 minutes prior and you're ready to go, that's more than content. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I would have been a guy showing up at 8:45 because I would have needed to wake up and have a big breakfast and prepare for the day. I can't just grab a granola bar and run out the house. I do have other guys that like to get to the rink early and tape their sticks and hang out and chit chat. I have other guys that like to come in and handle their business and kind of do things that way. So I kind of provide enough structure for you guys to be guided in a direction that will translate to your next level, but also to enough kind of area of gray for each player to figure out what works for them. Because every morning, my pre-morning routine is not going to be the same as Billy's, and it's not going to be the same as Bobby's, and it's not going to be the same as Jimmy's. And if it is, then great. But most likely it's not going to be. And everyone does a little bit something different. So I provide you guys to kind of figure out what works for you as individuals within that kind of team structure, if that makes sense there. So that's why I provide that leeway opportunity there. My doors do close at 8:45. If you have not called me, text me, or communicated with me by 8:45, then you just lose the day. You go home and it's like you just didn't show up for a day of work. I mean, that's kind of how things work as an adult. Now, if you do want to call me or text me and say, hey, coach, I overslept, my dog ate my homework, there's bad weather, etc., I'm okay with that. And here's why. For me, it's 2020, and communication is kind of the key at the foundation of everything. If you're able to communicate and you're able to tell people what is going on and what you need, it makes it very, very easy to make things happen for you. My job as a coach is to make sure that I can eliminate as many circumstances as possible come Friday and Saturday for us to be successful. And that takes a lot of communication through player and through coach. So if you can't even call me or text me and say, hey, I'm not going to be there on time, then it's like, how are we going to be able to kind of establish that relationship to really be working forward, to making sure that I can eliminate all circumstances for you. So I really kind of make sure that is there. And again, with it being 2020, I know what you guys are like with kids. If your phones aren't on you, I know you guys are panicking and freaking out. And I do it all other than Snapchat. You guys can call me, text me, Facebook me, Instagram me. Just find a way to communicate with me. That's all I ask, because communication is going to be huge as me, as a professional, trying to move you on and figure out what's going to be best for you as a player. But for you as a player, letting me know as a coach, hey, coach, this works for me or doesn't work for me. That's kind of why I want that foundation set like that. And I think it does start as easy as being able to say, hey, coach, I'm going to be later, I'm not. So for me, the communication thing is going to be huge. On ice at 9:30, we step on at 9:30. If you're not on when I'm on at 9:30, then you just kind of lose the day and you go home. From there, we're off the ice at 12. The first probably 4 to 5 months will go for about 2 hours solid. I'm going to be very honest with you, probably 2 hours hard. The last month and a half, it's hard to beat the hell out of you guys for 2 hours a day and expect you to compete at a national championship caliber, pace and level every day. So we'll kind of hold that back to about an hour and a half, probably that last month and a half. And then we'll have that extra ice time for doing player development. And again, with player development, my background kind of started in that. We do have Mike Foz on the ice with us full time, pulling guys aside and working with small groups. And then Coach Ryan Davis is doing shooting drills and stuff with the goalies. So after practice, there's ample ice time for guys to develop, guys to work on something or an area in their game that they want to grow and they want to develop in. And that's something I think is really unique and really, really cool. And we are off the ice at 12. And that gives the guys a little bit of time to kind of get going there. At 12:30, we do start game film and game review. We did change that about halfway through the year. Our guys wanted to meet a little bit earlier, so we started meeting before practice. Right now, this is what I would like to do, but I am a player's coach. I am open to hear what players would like to hear. So we started doing it before practice towards the end of the year. If that's something that the leaders identify they'd like to do or change, that may change a little bit. But for each day, kind of be prepared to be at the rink from 8:45 until about 3 o'clock. And I'll kind of go over some of the film stuff on kind of what that looks like here in just a second. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays, we do strength conditioning from 1:45 to 3. And that's going to be, your lifting weights, your strength program, getting stronger, your individual workouts, kind of set for guys. If there's injury or you need a little something extra, Brent will have that kind of squared away for guys during that time. On Tuesday, same setup on ice. We just have an agility and mobility portion. We do a little more plyometric stuff on Tuesday, just to make sure we kind of keep all pistons firing and kind of keep ourselves in good shape and ready to go. And then Thursday, it's going to be very, very similar, but what you're going to have instead of a workout is you're going to have yoga. And that's kind of get everyone kind of focused, honed in, calmed, and relaxed and kind of ready to go. So for me, we do the video. What I love about our videos, we use the NSTAT program. Which I think is really, really unique and really cool. It gives me an opportunity 24 hours after our games to have the opportunity to see, what we did, breakdown of every player's shift and what is going on. So for me as like an individual, I'll kind of walk you through here. I would get an email from the NSTAT program. And so say an individual, for this example, this kid's name would be Mason Fortin. Unbelievable player, plays a lot of minutes for me, is a guy that every Monday morning is at the rink saying, hey, coach, can we watch individual film? So I would be able to go through, and this is kind of what this would look like. We'd go through, I'd have my email. So I'd want to go to the game and what you want to see. We're able to see that game. Mason Fortin is the player I want to click. So I'll be able to see his individual stuff. So then when that would happen, everything would download. Up would come Mason's stuff. Now what we have is we have every shift clipped in which Mason was on the ice. We have his total time. And then what I would do is I would download these clips. And once I download the clips, they then go and they transform into a piece like this. So this is one of Mason's clips from the year that we had downloaded. This one's a 25-second spurt here. This is going to be a power play goal in which Mason was on the blue line here. So say we wanted to see power play or what was going on from the week prior, or how we scored a goal, we would have.
The neutral zone isn't able to, and Dusek will hold in his own end. Chris Dusek over to Marty, back to Chris Dusek. Chris Dusek up to Tyler Kulas. Kulas with it now. Tyler Kulas holding. Kulas taking it up himself. Looks like he's going to wrap around the net, and will. Kulas over to Evan Mitchell. Wrister! Evan Mitchell scores in the slot. And this game.
So for me, you're able to kind of go through and break down. So he was the defenseman that made that first pass there to the guy cross ice. We would be able to kind of break down and say, hey, this is an opportunity, or for some reason, maybe something wasn't presented there come game time. He would be able to identify kind of what was going on in that, I guess, aspect or regard. Say, hey, maybe I have a little more time and space with the puck than I think. Maybe I could have skated that there. And for me, I'm a really firm believer in being a student of the game. Having this amenity, I ask players to come and take this. I love doing this. I love talking hockey. I love being involved in it. It's kind of what I've dedicated my life to. I want to be around guys that want to be students of the game like that. So guys that want to work and want to grow. As far as, that aspect, I think we have all the assets and all the amenities there for that. What I think is really cool too is, so for us, we have the ability too to kind of pre-scout for teams. So when we were going to the national tournament, we went to the national tournament this year, and we didn't get a chance to win it. We only got a chance to win the warm-up. They got out there, and literally after warm-ups, they took us off the ice because of the corona scare, and immediately kind of shut things down. So after our warm-up in Boston, the national tournament kind of got decided it was going to be shut down. So we were going to play the Charlotte Rush our first game. So I reach out to our Instat guy and say, hey, I need to know what the Charlotte Rush are doing for their power play. And so now what I'm able to do is go and get an opportunity where I can see what the team in white and blue here is doing on a regular basis. So I go and I reach out, and now I get a match report from what they're doing. And so I want to do some pre-scouting on this team. So I can see, if you look here, I can see the goals they had for and the goals against. I can see all the goals that were scored in it. I can see the full game. I can see positions in which they had, attacking opportunities. I can see how they had counter rushes. I can see everyone's power play. I can see everyone's penalty kill. And this is my favorite. So if there's a really, really good player on the other team that we want to identify or we want to be aware of, I can see every other player's last shift. So what I think is kind of cool about this for me as a coach, not only one is it cool to have as a development opportunity because I can kind of see other players, and as an individual, you can see your games as well. But if there's a really, really good game that you played, how hard is it for some of you guys to go back and clip every good shift you had, or clip your entire game where they can see, not just your good shifts, but how you played throughout the course of 60 minutes. Now you've got an opportunity where you can pass this along to scouts, you can pass this along to higher level people. And I think it's kind of cool. For this purpose, as far as, this regards, it's definitely more of a preparation as far as recruitment for the other team. But as far as, individual, you can use it as an opportunity to kind of help pass along to schools and stuff. So we played the Charlotte Rush, and I wanted to know how they were scoring their goals here in their last playoff series to kind of prepare ourselves. And so here you'll be able to see, so now they're running their power play. So now I'm kind of like, okay, so what are they doing on their power play here? So now I know that they're running a bit of a 1-3-1 that allows me to prepare. And now going into a place like a national tournament, I'm able to have some kind of awareness or what's going on. For me, it's tough to watch an entire game as a head coach and a general manager and be able to be prepared for my guys that are current. Having this ability to kind of identify what other teams are doing and having things clipped, it allows me to really kind of stay on top of my game, and allows, my players as well to know what is going on with other people. So film is going to be something that you do 3 to 4 days a week, guaranteed. If you're a power play penalty kill guy, maybe a little bit extra. So I really think that's kind of a cool thing we have going there. I really, really like that. If anyone has any question on that stuff, I can kind of break you down. But for me, film is a huge piece for us. If you're going to be in Hudson, you will be a student of the game. And then game day is kind of my favorite. This is what the working so hard on Monday through Thursday is kind of geared up for. On Friday, we show up to the rink. I kind of push back start time a little bit, just kind of get guys a little bit more sleep, make sure you're getting that big meal before the game. And what I really like about it is we really have kind of a setup like a collegiate program here. You're going to be at the rink for multiple hours of the day and kind of a count of time. And we add a pregame skate here on game days. That kind of gives you a chance. For me, I always loved that. And as a player, I want my players to kind of come in. I want them to be at the rink on Friday morning, feeling good, excited to be there. And it gives players kind of a chance to kind of find that swagger and kind of feel good about your game. And that way you're heading into Friday, you're feeling really, really good. I kind of describe it as like going out on the putting green before and knocking in a few 3 or 4 footers to make sure, you're feeling confident when you get back on the golf course. So it's kind of that mindset that I use. And we really come and we kind of develop that swagger that day. And after we're on ice, we come and we do our game review. That way we're prepared mentally. So here we're prepared physically, feeling good. Here we're prepared mentally. And then we come and we execute come game time. It's kind of my focus come game day. On Saturday, we'll meet again. We'll do team stretch. Saturday, we're always doing film. It's a non-negotiable. It doesn't matter if we won or if we've lost. There's ways to get better. And that's kind of my goal and focus is this is a development level at all times. There's never a time to take your foot off the gas. We will always continue to work. So we will do that. And then your game time is going to be kind of normal time there We do have the occasional Sunday game, just kind of would be more of a breakdown like Saturday. But predominantly it's going to be a Monday through Thursday practice, Friday pregame skate, and then Friday, Saturday games. All right, this is the part that gets me excited. This is what is fun about being a coach. I really love winning games. I really love having a lot of fun and getting all these accolades as a program, but it's the ability to move guys on and just the ability to give you guys exposure and that opportunity is what gets me so excited. As far as exposure, some achievements that we had throughout the course of the year, we won the regular season division. We won the division and playoffs. We were a national championship representative. We had a 33-win season out of 44 games. We only had 8 regulation losses. In the past 2 seasons, we've committed 10 NCAA commitments. Those are 10 of the 11 people that have aged out in the last 2 years have moved on to that level. And this season alone, we had 7 NCAA 3 commitments. We had 8 North American League skate-ups. We had 2 USPHL All-Stars. We had 2 playoff round sweeps. And the reason that NCAA level commitment thing is so precious and so kind of proud to me is, one, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm the first in my family to go to college, and hockey provided that opportunity for me. So having a chance to have athletics provide an academic opportunity is outstanding and the huge goal. But that NCAA title, between Division I hockey and Division III hockey, there's roughly about 145 teams. I think it's 144 they made. Well, they just added one, so I think 145. That's roughly about 25 to 30 people on a roster. You're looking around 37 to about 4,000 players. Like, that's pretty freaking elite. And guys, that's from ages 18 to 25. That's not just 4 years of 18 to 22-year-olds. Those are guys kind of all across the world, all across that age spectrum, and really all kind of across that maturity level. So to know that we were able to kind of identify that we had 7 guys on our roster alone that were able to kind of put themselves amongst that number, it's really something I take a lot of pride in. What I really like as a coach is we got a long hallway entrance on our locker room, and it's kind of done up with all the pictures and awards of all the guys that have played there previously and moved on. And I love being a coach on a Friday and Saturday night and pulling up Twitter and checking out the the game stats, the game updates of the Havoc players that moved on other places. Like, it's something I take a lot of pride in, knowing that these guys are getting an education, but also too carrying our program's name on and doing them proud. I mean, it's something I'm very, very proud of, the guys that have done that and moved on. I can't speak highly enough. One thing that I do love, and if you guys are cool with it, and I always spoke here, I'm going to do something a little unique. I'm going to bring on one of my players. So I was fortunate enough to have one player this year that is actually committed for the 21-22 season. So he'll play another year of junior hockey here in Hudson before going to compete at the collegiate level. And the reason that kind of happened is he was identified as an athlete who is more than able and capable to play at that level. A school jumped on him early because he was a fantastic student athlete. I know he will not tell you this, but he comes with a 31 on his ACT and a 4.0 GPA. It makes things very easy for me to move on a student athlete like that. So he kind of got jumped on early, and as far as development, his skill development is 100% there. He's a great skill guy. He understands the game. He's got a great hockey mind. He just needs to spend another year in junior and put on another 10 to 15 pounds in developing off ice, and that's kind of what he'll be doing. So if you guys are cool, I'm going to take just a second here. I'm going to phone Evan Mitchell in, if that's cool with you, Bloomer, and we'll kind of go from there if that works.
Sounds good.
Hey, are you good? All right, you hop on? Awesome. He's hopping on. So the guy I'm going to introduce to you guys, Evan Mitchell. He originally, first time I met him was actually the first time I met Bloom. He's a guy that played in a very similar league to you guys. Has played in that National Junior Prospects Hockey League showcase, and it's where I identified him, and has had a lot of success transitioning to this level afterwards and kind of growing as a player. So Evan, are you on?
Hold on, I gotta give him access to speak.
Yep, all good.
All right, Evan's good.
Evan, are you there?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, guys. So like I said, I've got Evan Mitchell on. Evan is my assistant captain. A guy that has done a great job of really just kind of buying into our program. Was a guy, again, I told you, came with a great awareness as far as being a student athlete, unbelievable student first, and did an unbelievable job at just kind of doing his part to allow me to do mine. So Evan, I just kind of want to have you kind of introduce yourself a little bit to the guys. We've got some guys here that will be going through a similar process and hoping to have a similar route as you. Obviously, you've been a guy that has been identified as a guy that has been seen to be kind of put atop that mountaintop as far as that NCAA level. Just kind of speak to your transition, I guess, in your first year a little bit. What was it like playing in some of those national junior prospects showcases, and then once you got to Hudson, kind of what that transition was like?
Yeah, so started out, played for the Dayton Stealth. We played in the National Junior Prospects League, and we had a couple tournaments during the year, and it was really good for exposure and stuff like that to be seen by other coaches at the junior level and sometimes at college level. So it was good for being able to be exposed and to move on to the next level. And at one of the tournaments, it was at University of Miami. That's where me and Coach Wall first kind of met. He saw a couple of my games. I performed well, I would say, and then
Very well.
yeah, yep. And then we talked more, and it's kind of where it all started. Decided to go to Hudson during my senior year of high school. Moved there, and it was a little rough at first, the transition, just getting used to playing against older guys, bigger guys, stuff like that. But during the year, I developed and got a lot better with the help of Coach Wall and Coach Davis and all my teammates and stuff. So, yeah, it was a pretty good transition. And yeah.
So with that transition period, Evan, talk to some of these guys, like what that transition period was like. Like, what are some of the things you went to, like being a guy moving away from home, being a guy getting used to the junior level? What are some of the things you kind of went through?
Yeah, so moving away from home, I originally thought it was going to be really hard at first, like not being able to see your family as much, leaving high school early and stuff like that. But right away, I mean, it was completely fine, being around the guys every single day. You're meeting new teammates, new friends that you get to hang out with every day and play hockey with. So it really wasn't tough at all, just moving into that. And it's pretty good.
As far as on ice, like what can you say was kind of some of the like biggest things that maybe you noticed were just a little bit different as far as transitioning, and some areas that you think were similar that allowed you to kind of have some success?
So a big difference was just playing against older guys. Playing in the U16 level, you're used to playing against guys that are the same age as you, and then moving up to the junior level, you're playing against some guys that are like maybe 4 years older than you. That's a little different, but you just got to develop and get used to it, play against it, and it'll prepare you for the college level. When you're coming in as a freshman, you're playing seniors that are 4 years older than you. So that's a good thing to have. So.
Awesome. So then let me ask you about this. I know just kind of inform some of these guys. So you are committed to Chatham University, and they play in the NCAA Division III and the USPHL, which is a really, really strong conference out in kind of that I want to call it more Atlantic Mid-East region. We'll kind of call it there. Just kind of let these guys know, like, what was your recruiting process like? What did that look like? How was your communication with coach? How did everything kind of get started, and kind of what's your commitment process?
Yeah, so during my first year of juniors, they saw me play a couple times, and so I kept in contact with them. And then over the summer is when I started actually picking up the conversation. Like, we were talking a lot, and during that summer, around I want to say July, I was on an on-campus visit with the coach, and he kind of showed me around the campus and their facilities and stuff like that. And it was a really good place, and I thought it'd be a good fit. And then going into that year, I kept in contact with the coaches there, and they watched my games and would let me know how I was doing and stuff. And at one of our showcases during December in Chicago, he came and watched some of our games. One of them was against the Chicago Cougars, and we talked afterwards and stuff like that. And then I had another on-campus visit, and then was committed in January. So we just kept the conversations going, and we were going to Boston. We were about to leave for the airport in like an hour, and I got a call from the assistant head coach asking if I would like a spot for the team for the 21-22 year, and I took it. So
Very cool. So let's just kind of go into this, and I kind of filled them in just like some of the reasons. So just kind of keep guys updated and just kind of keep everyone aware. Like sometimes I think people, and this has been brought up, that maybe they think you get a college commitment and you're supposed to go right to college. I guess with having another year of junior, like what is your goal and what is your focus as an individual in your game? Like, what is the reason for you taking that extra year there?
I just want to be able to develop a little bit more, be able to get another year in of junior hockey to play and practice every single day and just be able to work out and just develop more. I want to be able to have a good strong season going into college, because most guys are going to be a lot older than me. So I just want to be able to develop every day and be ready for that transition when I go into college. So when I step in, I'll be able to produce and be a good player and fill in for the roster and stuff like that. So
love that. And something that I think the guys, and Evan, I hate to pump your tires here in front of everyone, so I hate to make you feel awkward. But guys, Evan, like when he's talked about the commitment and everything, and Evan's a fantastic student, and Evan wants to work hard, and Evan really has a goal and a focus and a plan. And he's kind of sticking to that. It's not sporadic. It's not jumping here or there or kind of looking for the next best thing. Like Evan has kind of really stuck to his goals and his plans and his focus, and has really kind of been able to put himself in the spot in the situation. But what I can't honestly speak highly enough about is Evan kind of took that initiative to stay in communication with these coaches, to be able to talk to them, to be able to handle himself like an adult. That's something you guys are going to have. One day you're going to have to be able to talk to a coach one-on-one that's going to be looking to offer you a spot as far as an education in a place like that. And that's something I think Evan really did great as far as just handling like an adult, kind of getting everything taken care of and kind of keeping that open line of communication with coaches and really handling yourself like a professional. So I truly think, your professional approach and that preparation is kind of what allowed you to get there. Your gameplay obviously speaks for itself. But honestly, I just think the work that you put in as far as preparation and little details go a long, long way to kind of allow you to be where you're at. So that's kind of what I have there. And Evan, if you got anything else, I'll let you kind of, chime in. But just kind of want to let guys get the chance to meet you and kind of see what it was like. You're a guy that has played in, similar showcases in an area and against some similar teams that some of these guys have one day. And, hoping the opportunity, can be likewise and have the same results for, hopefully all of them.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Evan.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on, and it was good to talk to everybody and let them know what the experience was like. So
Thanks, Evan. Good job.
thank you guys.
All right, and then just kind of exposure opportunities. We'll kind of keep continuing with that. Again, I truly believe at the end of the day, your players are your best recruiters. When your players come here and have success and put in hard work and, you continue to do a good thing, you're able to kind of find more people that are kind of fit and cut from that same cloth. So I can't thank Evan enough. An unbelievable player and just person in our community here. A guy that, when you ask what his best attribute is he gets it. He is a 200-foot hockey player and a well-rounded person. So I love what he's doing. As far as exposure opportunities, something that I think is really cool is our national rankings as far as amongst all Tier 3 hockey. The Dan K here, this is a little show host. This is a guy that it's a social media thing, but the guy gets thousands of views and following and whatnot. I'm going to show you a little interview that we've done on there. It's a little bit of pregame interview in which we were getting ready to play a team prior in Wisconsin, but I'll show you a few minutes of that and kind of what that looks like here in just a sec.
On me last time I was here. Now, Coach, this is a team in the Hudson Havoc that have been picking on folks all season long in goal totals. You guys have been scoring all day long. It's been a great season for you. You sit atop the standings right now in the Midwest West. Bouncing back from an OT loss yesterday, a team you were 0-3 against. How do you go get a big win today?
I think we just got to come out a little bit stronger. I thought the first 20 yesterday, we were kind of finding our legs from the road, just kind of didn't really have that extra fire and jam. I think we kind of found it there in the second. Game got tight there in the third, and obviously it could have gone either way, losing a game in overtime on the road. We're happy to get a point, obviously, anytime you're playing a quality team like the River Kings, and we get a point in their building is fantastic. But tonight, completely different game. It doesn't really matter about standings or points. Like, this is kind of what we're playing for. One day, come March, we just want to be in a spot where we're playing one game for a cup. Here's an opportunity for us to kind of try that and test it out. So it's a big opportunity, and our guys are excited to be here for it.
Coach, I got to tell you, I hear all around the country, we're at these events, we're at these showcases, about yourself. And you might not be hearing this, but People talk about the work you're doing with the Hudson Havoc, the turnaround this organization's had, the success of late, the on and off development of skaters, of players, of people. How has this success come to you guys this year?
Honestly, it's the whole Hudson. It's just the only way to describe it. It's just the magic there. It's our ownership. It's our community. We have a fantastic rink that has 2 rinks that is set up solely through Hudson Hockey Association funding. There's no outside funding or sources. So it's really a hockey community that truly gets it and has embraced what we've been doing. Our ownership with Denny Baskey and Jimmy Anderson out of Chicago are unbelievable and kind of allow me and Catherine to do just about anything we really need to kind of move the team forward and make sure our guys are having a great time, have all the amenities and opportunities that they need to be successful. Strength and conditioning coach Brent Jameson does a fantastic job. The addition of Coach Tommy Zers this year has been fantastic, and obviously having Coach Ryan Davis back has been unbelievable. Our director of scouting, Jim Mitchell, works all year long to get guys placed, to find new guys, new talent in different areas. Honestly, it's everyone kind of pulling their weight. I've just been very fortunate to kind of be the guy that's ahead of it, but I've got unbelievable people behind me making sure this all happens for us.
Now, let's look ahead, Coach, because pretty soon you guys are going to be playing for another cup, like Dan mentioned. You're going to be heading to nationals and getting involved there. It's not just another showcase, right? A lot of people say that nationals is kind of playing a lot of games in a short period of time, but it's not. It's a little bit harder. How do you guys prepare to make that late season run after having been run through the washer here in the Midwest West? How do you prepare for that?
I think truly that's kind of what does prepare you. You play 36 games in division here against teams. Honestly, any team 1 through 9 can beat you. There's no off nights in this league. In our division, if you kind of come sleep and you find yourself losing games, and you got to be prepared every night. So we do prepare, like each game kind of is that Stanley Cup or the finals there in nationals. And knowing that if you are able to survive the Midwest West playoff run and the push, you should kind of be able to withstand with whatever else is out there. I truly believe that with the strength of our division.
Coach, I'm going to ask you the same question to close out that I asked Coach Quarters.
Absolutely.
You got skaters watching at home around the country, right? You got parents watching at home, and they see this Hudson Havoc team, and the win-loss column looks great, right? The win column looks great. The point total looks great. But it's all about that on and off the ice that you guys do. Talk to that person, that parent, that player at home. Why the Hudson Havoc? Why choose the Havoc organization?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The whole development of people and player and moving guys onto schools, these guys are all great students first. That's one thing that I'll put out there. If you're not a guy that's on top of your grades and stuff, there's not a whole lot of things we can do to help you move on. You got to kind of make sure you're pulling your part. The playing stuff, we do a lot of things as far as video, film review. Like I said, we have a strength conditioning coach. We have a director of scouting. We have a player development guy. We have all the kind of amenities that you could possibly need to develop in a community that truly supports and embraces what you're doing. So you're there and you're held accountable 24/7. People know who you are. People know what you're up to. And the expectation has been raised amongst staff and kind of players amongst themselves. So just everyone comes to work. They hold themselves accountable, and it's a fun, safe environment to be in. I love where it's at, but honestly, I can't stress enough. We have student athletes here, and that's the big focus. A lot of guys will kind of hinder themselves out because they can't pull the grade part of it. So we do get the opportunity to move guys on because we do have fantastic students. I'm a firm believer in that.
That is the to a T. What you love about both of these organizations, folks. It is not the player on the ice that is the only thing, right? So many people focus on a W at this level.
It is so hard to be there. I always tell people, think about how many people struggle just to get through schooling in 4 years. Now you've got to find a way to be, an NCAA athlete, but at the same time, a contributing student to a community and a university. That's a full-time job in itself, and one day that accounts for employable adults. These are things.
We get our good grades. We go to class. We do all the right things, and that's how we end up on the ice like these guys, right? It's so important.
I couldn't stress it enough. Unfortunately, for the truth is, this one day doesn't. I've been lucky enough to be able to stick in the game, but preparing people for a real world and life after hockey is kind of the important part. And I think we've been able to do that here, and been very pleased with the help and support we've had from our community.
Love it, Coach. Thanks for joining us. We're going to let you go. We're going to bring your voice to the squad on here. He's hanging out off camera.
I am very excited for you guys to have him. He's fantastic. I know we're very blessed to have him. A lot of parents.
So that's that Dan K show there, and they come out each month with a national ranking, and honestly, I don't know how this guy does it. He's all across the country, kind of doing little shows all over. But what I was very, very happy with is we never fell below 7th in the country as far as a national ranking. And as far as my hockeyrankings.com, which is a little bit more kind of known and understood, and I think that math and how that system is operated is kind of a little bit more known. We never fell below 23rd in the nation. Very, very proud of that. I think it kind of speaks to kind of the work that we did as far as, on a daily basis. It was consistent, good work. And that's testament to the guys. And obviously with putting in hard work over and over and over, people know what you're doing. This season, we were able to commit some guys to the Division III level. Again, I have 7 guys that will kind of be a part of that 1 of 3,700 number, which I think is really unique. Max Wigfield, which is a guy that played with the Chicago Jets program kind of way back, and the Chicago guy originally. He's committed to Chatham University. Chris Dusick is another guy. Was a defenseman. He was a USPHL All-Star for 2 years. He's going to Chatham as well. Same with Evan. Tyler Kulas will be going to Newman University in Aston, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philly. And Cal Ambrose will be doing the same. He was actually Player of the Year the last 2 years at our league. Cal Ambrose was. Caleb Kinski, another guy that played around the Chicago area, played with the Fury. He's going to Framingham State. And then Hunter Koch, who's from the East Coast, will be going to Framingham State as well. So I think that's really, really unique to say that every guy on our list that aged out this year will be competing at an NCAA level. I did have one player this year commit to an ACHA club school. His name is Connor McMahon, and he's actually a dual sport athlete. He's going to be a soccer player and hockey. Soccer is just kind of the forefront and dominant sport. He just needed a year of junior hockey to kind of work and develop to get better. That way he could still contribute at a collegiate hockey program. But soccer is going to be his primary sport. So I thought that was kind of cool to have a dual sport athlete there. But 8 guys officially moved on this year. Very, very proud of that and pleased. And obviously one already committed for the following season. Throughout the course of the season, with our location, it makes it very, very easy for these guys to get a call up for opportunity and have it be real or an actual opportunity. It's not like you're calling a kid from the middle of nowhere and saying, hey, drive 10 hours to come try to get a practice or a skate or a look with a team in this division. So we've been blessed to have 8 guys called up throughout the course of the year to go skate and practice with higher level teams. I think that's really unique. I mean, and if you notice, it's not any of these guys that were committed to college. So these are all going to be your younger guys outside of Evan Mitchell. These are my younger guys that are getting an opportunity. My guys that are maybe just graduated, my first year guys that maybe went to a camp and had some success and were a little bit more of like bubble type players. They'll get those type of opportunities. So I think it's kind of cool because when a coach does call with our location, you can be in there within a few hours. So I think it's really neat. As far as on-campus visits, really fortunate to have I guess people that just want to have our players on campus and bring guys out for visits. I think it's really cool. I know when I was being recruited to college, the on-campus visit was one of the most unique and kind of fun parts for you to kind of really get a feel for, yourself on campus and not necessarily with the team. And this year we had on-campus visits as far as individual visits with players. The Chatham University, to Skidmore College, the University of River Falls, the Framingham State, the Newman University. And then as a team, we went on campus and we got the tour and we spoke to everyone at Merrimack and then University of Minnesota. But the Division III schools were schools in which we had individual players, asked and communicated to come visit. Player of the week, player of the month, it seemed like we were always kind of in the mix with something. As far as defenseman of the week or defense or forward of the week, player of the month, goalie of the month, like I said, it seemed like we were always kind of in the mix. When you have that, I think 6 or 7 times over the course of the season, it's a nice little attribute for guys to get some extra attention, some love, and some acknowledgement for the hard work they've been putting in. And then Tier 2 placements. So guys that played on our 2018-19 team that went on for 19-20 season. Charlie Skinner went on to the Cornwall Colts in the CCHL in Canada and is honestly an unbelievable workhorse and has made his way into an assistant captain as a rookie. He'll be going back for a second year next year, and he'll have the C on his jersey. Very excited for him. He's a guy in which the Division I dream is still very, very much alive and is chasing that avenue, and a guy that I do expect to kind of achieve that result. And then we have Joe Martin. Joe Martin played with us. Joe started the year in the North American League in Austin with Austin Bruins. And then from there, he went from the South Shore Kings and then finished with Northern Cyclones in the NCDC. I did say we had an affiliate with the Boston Junior Bruins, but I'm going to be very honest with you. They are a team that is sending probably anywhere from 10 to 12 guys, big-time Division I. I don't have any guys right now at this point that were kind of at that level within the last few years. But as far as affiliation, we do have great communication and understanding of what's going on. They do check in. We check in with them. But as far as opportunity to move a guy there, I just haven't had a guy that was kind of at that level quite yet. So that's how our affiliation works, but very happy to have them. And then the season prior, Cal Ambrose and Chris Dusick, again, USPHL Defenseman of the Year and the USPHL Goalie of the Year. So for the last 2 seasons, we've literally secured 2 of those 5 spots as far as people on that team and on that roster for All-Star. I think that's really, really unique and really cool and testament to the work ethic that those 2 brought. Then again, location, something that is just absolutely huge for us. As far as Division I schools and opportunity, I'm not going to tell you guys that Division I schools are coming to watch Tier 3 hockey. I'm not going to say that, but there is within proximity. It is close. There is opportunity to kind of be around that mix, to see what's close by, to check in on those campuses and know what's going on. What I really like is, and again, this is where a majority of our guys that have aged out have gone, is this Division III level. The proximity for some of these Division III schools is incredible for us. Being located right on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota, we're located between two powerhouse conferences in Minnesota and Wisconsin, with the MIAC in Minnesota and the WIAC in Wisconsin, that are extremely reputable and strong programs. It makes it very, very easy. If you see these miles and distances here, these are places where coaches can come and watch, and these are things that are realistic and within budget. It's not like St. Thomas is traveling to the middle of the country to try to find a player. They can literally just do it in their own backyard. I just think the proximity and relationships that we've been able to establish with these schools has been really, really convenient for players, but also too, a real legitimate opportunity to help guys move on. And if one of these schools is a place that identifies you as a player, and you obviously as fits your needs academically, I do think that it is really possible to move guys on here based off our past results. So I love our location and proximity, just kind of everything there. And there's our location as far as with Tier 2 within that division there. Austin is an hour and 45. St. Cloud's an hour and 45. Minnesota Wilderness is 2 hours. Teams we've kind of worked on with a regular basis. We have sent a few guys to Kenai. They're down here for about 3 months out of the season on a consistent basis. So we have sent guys that skate there as well. We're not sending guys to Alaska to skate. So I think that's really, really cool. What I love too is Hockey TV broadcasts all of our games. Everything is live and streamed, so scouts are able to watch. Mom and dad are able to watch from away. You guys saw a little bit of the clips as far as camera. I think our camera's pretty good and catches up on everything. We have a great play-by-play guy that kind of is on top of it and kind of really allows players that are listening from home and families that are watching to kind of really get that feel and vibe from what he's saying, without kind of really being there in person. So love that. Another huge piece for us, this is like my billeting program. This is a staple. If you do not have time for community service, I will not have time for you in Hudson. It's just plain and simple. Like I said, we live in a town of 14,000 people where everybody knows what is going on. And the hockey is kind of the neighborhood babysitter, the hockey rink there. It's where everyone kind of grows up. It's the community hub. We will be volunteering and giving back to the community that's going to be giving us so much. So some of the things we do the bell ringing for Salvation Army. We do packing the food for Feed My Starving Children. We've raised money and school supplies for places affected by a tornado. We had 2 athletes from Dallas last year that their school they actually went to originally was struck, so we raised some funds for them. We do the Pack Our Backpacks for kids in the city here, which is a little bit more underfunded. Hudson supports that with their Pack My Backpack community program. And then what I love most is, so I am in charge of the MITE program. Every Havoc player is teamed up with a MITE program, and you are required to be there for 1 practice and 1 game day a week. And game days are on Sunday, and practice is usually split up throughout that course of the week for an hour. The focus for that is our billeting program is kind of cored out of our MITE hockey program. A lot of our MITE hockey families are billets, so it helps guys be involved. I also want to make sure that our guys understand that being in a community like this where hockey is so prevalent and does have such a large impact and truly is a real asset of life, I want people to understand and respect that you have to recycle this game. I want guys to give back. One day the kids that they're coaching will be coaching my kids, and then their kids will be coaching the players. And I just want to make sure that that's kind of continued to be given back. If you can't give time to the place that gives you so much, I'm just not going to have time for you. So for me, community service is something that's tremendously huge. And at the same time, I think it's something we can really use to make a lot of fun and do together as team building. As far as opportunities to get out and about in the community together, to do different things, to be seen in a positive manner, to know that we're all kind of in it together and doing it, I think is something unique that I've had no problems with anybody embracing. But if for some reason that wasn't your thing, Hudson probably is not going to be the place for you. You're looking to probably donate at least 2 to 2.5 hours of your time a week to community service. Social media, we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, our website. This is on here. Follow us, give us a like. a heart, whatever they are there, just whatever kids are doing these days. Follow us on social media. We have a great social media director that kind of keeps everything up to date and relevant. I know for me, sometimes I catch myself as a fan looking at our social media. It's kind of so well done. So I think it's really kind of unique and fun. Follow us on there to kind of keep you updated with what we're doing while you're kind of away. And this is the big question: cost. So we are pay to play. The way this works, our cost is $8,400 for the course of the season. And that covers your ice time, your off-ice training fees, your yoga, travel. We travel by bus. We have a team bus, your food on the road, the hotels, and then any cost that would kind of occur while at team functions. And that's a one-time fee there. There's no like hidden extra costs, like you've got to pay this here, pay that there. That $8,400, we are very, very easy in working with different people as far as payment plans and opportunities and ways to make sure that it's feasible for everybody. So we have no problem kind of working with that. It's not like you have to pay $8,400 all up front, and more than willing to kind of work. But I think as far as what it covers, as far as assets and quality, I think you're right on with it. You're getting at least anywhere from 10 to say 14 hours of ice as far as practice. You're getting your games, your travel, and everything else kind of taken care of throughout the course of the season. So I think as far as that, it kind of goes in there and covers it. We do have a $400 apparel package fee, and that is what that does. That allows us to make sure that your jerseys, your socks, team bag, all your apparel and everything you get, it just allows you guys to keep that at the end of the season. That way everything kind of moves forward with you, and we're not having old stuff, if that makes sense. And then we do have it where players are recovered to cover their flight to Boston. And that reasoning is sometimes we have guys that are up, guys that are down, guys that get promoted to different levels. If I buy, all of a sudden I only have, say 20 of those guys on that roster. I've got other guys that are now different names. It's impossible for me to change those names on those tickets. So we kind of asked everyone to handle that on their own because of the movement we usually have throughout the course of the season. And then equipment. So what we do ask is we do ask the players have black gloves and black helmets. We provide pant shell and then anything else that you kind of see on the outside. We do have a deal through CCM in which we receive everything at cost price. So it's all pro stock. So anything from skates to sticks, anything you kind of imagine, we do have a discount and something that we work through with CCM with that to make sure that everyone is kind of equipped with things they would need moving forward as far as equipment. And that kind of keeps everyone on the same thing. Like I said, with the movement, it's hard to get everyone the same piece of equipment with so many guys up and down throughout the course of the season. Just making sure that everything kind of matches, everything is good. It allows players to kind of have what they want and kind of what they need to be successful. And then league insurance. So we're not covered through USA Hockey. The way this works is our league registration acts as your covering body, as your USA Hockey card would. So that's a $250 registration. That's a one-time fee there. It's mandatory before taking the ice. And if you were an international player, so say you were not from the United States, there's an $820 fee that just is a international registration and insurance fee. That's a one-time thing. So that kind of acts as your governing body and your USA Hockey card per se, if that makes sense. And then the big question here, the one that everyone's been waiting to ask, moving away from home, what is it like? Is it tough? Is it difficult? Is it hard? I'll be honest with you, it varies for everyone. But what I can speak is that our billeting program is phenomenal. This is truly the foundation of our program. Without the billeting program, I am not here. Catherine is not here. The team is not here. There is nobody bigger than our billeting program. If you are going to be disrespectful or you're going to be a guy that can't be compliant with the rules that have been put in place with that, then it's just not going to work. This is truly the crown jewel of what happens here. My billet families come before any and come before all, because without them, there is no way for you to be chasing and living your dreams. So it's something that I take a lot of pride in here. The way we work with our billeting is, like I said, we've kind of gone through, and a lot of the Mite Hockey families have been on board and really jumped on board with that. Catherine, our billeting director, is actually involved in the Hudson School District here at the elementary level. So it seems like about 3/4 of the billeting program, you either play for me as a Mite or you go and you get taught by Catherine at school. So we've been very blessed to kind of have a good relationship and understanding and really good, clear, and open communication with a lot of these families, with these players, with what's going on and what's happening. What I do love is our location. We don't have any players driving outstanding minutes. Our farthest billet is 7 miles away. It's 15 minutes. The only reason it takes so long is there's a 25 mile an hour speed limit here in Hudson. But as far as homes, they're unbelievable. This is kind of like a smaller getaway community for big business in the city. So as far as quality of homes that you're living in, I don't want to be, pompous, but they're quite luxurious. And again, a place that if I were able to live, I would gladly take, even as a 30-year-old currently. So for me, it's something that I can't stress enough is really foundation here. But the process, the way it looks like is we identify families that would love to be in the mix and be involved. Katie and I then kind of establish some kind of communication and get just that initial gut feel like, hey, will this work or not? After that, and we feel good when we move forward, we go and we do an in-home visit where we'll spend, an afternoon and evening and kind of, the duration of a night there and just kind of get comfortable, meet these people, eat a few meals there, and just kind of get really comfortable with what a day-to-day life looks like in their household. And then after that evaluation, after Katie and I feel comfortable and it was a place that we know would work, we'll then go back and we'll start a background check. Everyone in the household must pass a background check in order to even register to be a billet. And after the background check comes back, then what we would do is we would send out like an official billing application. And that's kind of handled like a college freshman questionnaire, like for your dorm, like, what are some things you like, foods you do like, foods you don't like, animals you're allergic to, things you'd prefer, things you wouldn't prefer. Just kind of your odds and ends that really kind of make your life kind of seem somewhat normal, even though the circumstances are a little bit different. And the cost for billeting is $375 a month. That covers 3 meals a day. That's your snacks, your living expenses, your room and board, and kind of anything you kind of need at the house throughout the course of that month there. And then there's us again, clinching the playoff title. And then partners, very, very blessed to work with some small businesses. We're partnered with the USPHL as far as the league. Our affiliate is the Boston Junior Bruins. Our ownership group works out of the Chicago Fury. The Hudson Health and Physicians, that's our team doctor. Hop and Barrel is our local brewery, supplies all the beer for our games. Onside Apparel does all our small embroidery and everything for people here in town. C1 Athletics is our local athletic provider. And then Hockey TV provides support for our show there for being able to watch. So that's what I've got on the program. Now I'd love to just kind of open up for some Q&A if that's okay with you, Blimmer.
Just remember, if anyone has any questions for Brett, to chat them here and we'll walk through them together.
Brett, I think you did such a thorough job that I think you covered a lot of the questions that people may have. But,
well, if you give me time to talk, I'll gladly do it.
But no, I thought it was great bringing a player on, just given because there's a lot of players on the call today, giving them an opportunity to hear and really see somebody who's going through it. Where a lot of them hope to be in a few years, and just today's talk was just a great way of showing that there's yet another path out there that is available if players want to put in the work.
I can't stress that enough. I know me and Bloomer were kind of talking about before we got on, like, guys, the amenities that you guys are being provided by your program here, like, guys, this is cool. Like, take advantage of this. And Evan is a guy that came through a similar type of path and was a team that was playing against, Chicago Jets and that type of stuff, and same opportunities as far as exposure. And, Evan's been a guy that's been able to identify himself as that. And, guys, this is very real. If you want to put in the work and continue to grind and continue to polish your game, and, that comes with summertime training, and that comes with, working hard during the year and listening to your coaches and being able to communicate with your coaches. Like, let these guys know what you want. I'm not going to speak for you guys, but like there's a reason that, with our program that we're trying to work with you guys and wanting to be involved with you guys, because you guys are doing it right. I'm a firm believer that, players from your program will be able to leave there and transition really, really well. And have that opportunity just based off the culture that's been developed there with you guys. So my advice to you guys is honestly keep following the path, keep trusting your coaches, and just keep enjoying this. Show up to the rink every day and have a great day and truly make it the best time you can in your best part of your day.
Great advice. Hey, I got one question just came by. Do you offer any kind of summer camps? Do you run any?
So I did just see that pop there. So that, guys, this is where this year is very unique and different. Normally I'd run a camp the last week of April, And then I usually take a few teams to a showcase that first week of May. This year, things have kind of changed and have kind of done a little bit more different as far as what the landscape looks like. I don't know when rinks are going to be open, so I don't want to say that we're going to have a camp just yet. That's still kind of up in the air. A lot of the guys that are here, I'm going to be very honest with you, are going to be bubble tier 2 hockey players. If there's an opportunity to pursue a tier 2 opportunity, I want to be able to help guide my guy towards that rather than saying, hey, come play here when I know the guy can be here, if that makes sense. Now, as far as identifying new talent and new players, this summer is different and unique. Normally throughout the course of the summer, we're out and about, we're at a lot of showcase, we're identifying players and kind of seeing them in person. Right now, it's kind of been a lot of film, a lot of video, and just kind of reaching out to people that maybe we've seen in the past. And this year does look just a lot different than most. So I just want guys to kind of be aware of that.
Okay. How did Evan go about finishing up his high school year academic?
Yep. So Evan was very fortunate to be involved. Evan went to a really strong, supportive public school in Cincinnati, Ohio, that allowed Evan to do online classes throughout the course of this year and throughout the course of the season. And they allowed me to kind of work hand in hand as an academic and athletic advisor per se to make sure that Evan was on top of his stuff. So what I did there is I kind of worked hand in hand with Evan's counselor and advisor, and they made sure Evan was on top of his stuff, on top of his work, making sure that Evan didn't fall behind. Now, at the same time, I'll be honest with you guys, Evan is a guy that got ahead, and Evan was graduated by November instead of taking the course of the season. Like, very motivated individual, knows his goals, knows his focus, and is a very, very strong student. There are a few other guys where I do have to provide a little bit more guidance to where I am on top of them. There are study halls that for a few guys that kind of need that. My expectation for players to come here, if you are a 3.0 student, I'm not expecting you to become a 4.0 student. I get that. But what I am definitely telling you will not be happening is you won't be becoming a 2.9 student. You will be staying par for the course. You will be kind of having that average status quo. That's really kind of what I'm looking for. I don't want guys to come to Hudson and all of a sudden get lost in that situation and kind of go from there. But at the same time, a lot of our players are graduated. The guys that are coming from, early are not coming from traditional hockey markets and don't have the amenities like the Chicago Jets would be able to, offer a guy like Evan in kind of a non-traditional hockey market.
Do some of your players take a gap year after they finish high school and then they come to you, play for a year, but they're really not or going to college or community college, or are they?
So I've had a mix. So a lot of players do take a gap year. I mean, majority of my guys are graduated. I said very, very few that are in high school and have in the past. There are very few numbers with that. So a lot of the guys do come in and do take that gap year. Again, I kind of focus on strong students. If I'm worrying about what a guy is going to be able to do a year from now in a classroom, I'm going to probably be stressed on my ability to move him to a collegiate level. As far as the NCAA ranks. So what I like to do is to make sure that guys are taking that gap year and that they are strong students and that they can kind of put all their time and effort into developing their game, because their academics are perfectly fine. There's been no issue kind of identified or development needed with their academics other than to continue it at a higher level. So what I ask guys to do is with that time, if you are taking college classes, that is an opportunity for guys. I have had a situation where people have transferred and credits not transferred with them. So sometimes I think to myself, that's a little bit tough on money. And at the same time too, you can't be taking a full course load because then that starts your clock as far as eligibility. So I have had a few guys that have done it. I've had a few guys that have not, but predominantly a lot of my guys have kind of had a seamless transition as far as being a student and kind of making their way back in the classroom.
If they are taking a gap year, do you have any of them that have part-time jobs or try and work during?
Yep. So some people, I do have and it's not necessarily classwork, but something I really kind of stress and strive towards on an education area if you have a gap year. So you can't really increase your GPA anymore, but what you could do is take an ACT prep course. So I have some guys do that. So some guys will be involved in the prep course. Some guys will have part-time jobs. Some guys are really, really involved and immersed in the community service aspect of it, if that makes sense. So I have probably anywhere from 10 to 12 guys on my team that work. I have probably 5 to 7 guys that are taking that development class for the ACT. And then I've got probably 5 guys that are literally, as far as community service, like my leaders, my right-hand guys, that's kind of where they immerse their time. So everyone just kind of does something different. Like I kind of said in the very beginning, we provide enough structure and guidance with at 8:45 to 3 o'clock on where you really need to be as far as a hockey player. We kind of let each player kind of figure out what they need to kind of recharge, refocus, and prepare. That way they can come. Like for me, I'm going to be honest with you, it would have been tough for me to have a part-time job and do that. I was so big on my recovery and my focus for the next day. That really wasn't for me. Other guys are like, Coach, I want something to do. And are working. Other guys are like, hey, I want to be involved in the community. So just kind of figuring out what each individual works. I truly think there's an opportunity for finding what each guy wants and what each guy needs, not necessarily just the masses in the group. Yeah, so the question you have, can we describe a gap year? So that gap year is, say that you just graduated high school and you wanted to pursue college hockey through juniors, so you were take a year off school and to play juniors for the Havoc. That would be your gap year.
So a question I always get asked is because not everybody on this call plays for the Jets.
Yep.
We have some from high school and from other clubs, and not all the coaches out there are actively trying to make connections and trying to provide a path for some of these players. So if you are one of those players, what's the best way for you to either get noticed, or do players reach out to you and say, hey, I saw you guys play, I'm interested in playing at this level? Or how do you recommend 16, 17, 18-year-old player who's wanting to play further reach out to either you or coaches, or how do they can build connections on their own?
So one, I would say, to be honest with you guys, every day you're at the rink with where you guys are at, with what's going on, I have eyes and ears everywhere. If you guys don't think people are watching every game, every practice, or there's someone that's around that knows what's going on, you guys are crazy. So my first advice would be to make sure that you're always at your best. Make sure when you're at the rink, you're bringing what you've got and you're kind of really dumping everything you've got into that. That way, when you are seen, you do get a good opportunity when just say, hey, this is what I do on a regular basis, or, oh, I played bad. There's no excuses for that. Showcases, tournaments, make sure you're playing extremely well and make sure you're going. Develop a consistency kind of piece throughout your game. That way, when a guy sees you once, he can come back and see you twice and see the same player is what I would kind of suggest. Now, as far as a guy that maybe hasn't been seen or hasn't been approached from us, reach out. I am a lover of this game. I am going to be honest with you. There's a reason we have such a large staff, is because we want to be able to see everyone. If I want to sit here and tell you guys that I've seen everyone and no one slipped through the cracks, I'd be lying to you. I am more than willing to have guys reach out. For me, communication is a big thing. If I've got a guy that wants to reach out to me and say, hey, Coach, I want to be here, well, that gets me excited. A guy that, one, can communicate with me, and a guy that is communicating that this is his priority. I think that's pretty cool. So always feel free to reach out through a call or text or an email. My number and my email are all listed on the website and all over social media. So it's always kind of readily available. And then again, if there's a situation or opportunity where we're to talk to you or you're to talk to another coach, stay in communication with those guys, people. Just make sure they're not just, another business card or another guy you talk to. Really act like, people, and communicate with them and talk to them. Let them know your wants and your needs, because at the end of the day, you may be a fit for one place and you may not be for another. But you don't really know that until you kind of express those needs. So reach out, get a feel for it. And I think that's kind of the best way to kind of identify yourself if you're a guy that hasn't been kind of connected with you.
Sounds good. Bloomy, you got any questions or any thoughts of players that have reached out to us about questions they might have?
Not really. I mean, I think Brett did a real thorough job of kind of walking through a lot of this. So, it's one of those things where it's another avenue that, the Jets as a program is trying to give membership and our kids opportunities once they're done to, whether it be go to a junior route and what junior route, whether it be go to right in the college club, and just kind of understanding what the different options are and making sure that we help them connect those, connections to whatever it is. So, great job, Brett. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat, but I don't really have anything else.
Sounds great. I think that any additional questions, if you want to either reach out to me, I'll get you in touch with Brett, or Brett's information is on the website, like he said. But Brett, thank you so much for your time. Any closing thoughts before we let you go?
Honestly, I can't tell you guys how cool this is. You guys are doing it awesome. The way you guys do, the opportunity you're giving your players is fantastic. And guys, take advantage of this. I mean, this is incredible. You got some great guys that are spearheading your program that want to head this and help you guys. Take advantage of them. I know they'll help you, and I can't thank you guys enough for having us here.
Sounds great. Everybody on the call, thanks for joining. Once again, we'll send out a recording of the call so everybody can see if there's anything that they might have missed. But we hope to see everybody at the rink in the very near future. We really do, because as much as we love seeing all the faces and talking and meeting and having people like Brett present, we sure value our time at the rink and enjoy our time at the rink. So I can tell you that as soon as we're able to move to the next phase and ready to move along, that Johnny's, once it's open, there will be programming, and we're excited to have that opportunity. We're working through many different options now to make it a safe environment for everyone. And so keep the faith, stay positive, stay healthy, and thanks for joining, everybody. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Take care, Brett. Great job.
Thank you.